So my name is Srinivas Loke and I'm the VP of Product Management at Order. Today we are going to talk about how Order and ServiceNow work together. Order is a connected device security company. What we do is we discover all the assets in the network, independent of whether the asset is a medical device or an IT device or an IoT device or a building management system. What we do is we discover every asset in the network. We make sure that we build a security profile for that particular device based on where it's communicating, based on the medical need of it, based on the business criticality, based on the connectivity. Once we do that, we actually send that information to multiple other partners, including ServiceNow, and we'll talk about what we send to ServiceNow and how we work with ServiceNow. So our goal at the end of the day is to make sure that the medical devices that are connected to your network and every device that's connected to your device is secure. And we not only do it by ourselves, we created a platform. And what do we mean by the platform? We created a platform that every other ecosystem partner can take the data or send data to us. So we rely on bidirectional data exchange with multiple ecosystem partners. And today, as of today, we track close to 61 million assets. We have built a profile for 61 million assets in the network, and some of our customers are using more than trillion flows. So we have a huge database, and our goal is to build the data lake at the end of the day. What are we doing with ServiceNow, right? At the end of the day, our goal is to make sure that we discover every asset in the network. Not only IT asset, not only medical device, but every asset in the network. And when we collect close to 1,000 attributes for every device. That's coming from the network, that's coming from the ecosystem partners, that's also coming from the flow traffic. So all of these attributes have to be populated, right? There is some data in ServiceNow, and some of the data is not in ServiceNow. For example, ServiceNow might have a make or a manufacturer or a serial number of that device. What they might not have is a network connectivity. Who owns it? What is the business function of that particular device? How is this device? First of all, the major concern for majority of our customers is, oh, by the way, now that you discovered this asset, is ServiceNow aware of this particular asset? That's the first thing that they think about, right? What is asset reconciliation? So that is what we do. So to make sure that we reconcile the assets, to know how to reconcile the asset, the first thing that we need to do is what is available in ServiceNow. What data is available in ServiceNow? The format might not be right. So, okay, we are looking at the MAC address, we're looking at the flow, we're looking at other things. But ServiceNow might just have a serial number. How do we reconcile that device? So those are some of the things that we have done. So the very first step is to make sure that we can do service asset inventory list and make sure that we can reconcile, but at the same time, use Service Graph Connector to send the data back to ServiceNow. So Service Graph Connector is the next generation modeling system, the data modeling system that ServiceNow has adopted, and we are the very first vendors to do it. Actually, when we did it, we were the first ones to do it, and in that case, ServiceNow can pull close to 40 attributes from Order for every connected device, including business function. So all of this data, when the data is available in Order, we can populate in ServiceNow, and that's a constant loop. So it's not, at the end of the day, the asset reconciliation is a constant loop, and we continuously work with ServiceNow. And this is not only, so the greatest news is, previously you don't have to write a lot of reconciliation rules to write the data into ServiceNow. The CMDB directly takes medical devices now. So it can automatically take medical devices, directly write it to the CMDB without the need to write any additional reconciliation rules on top of what we are sending. So we can directly populate the CMDB table not only for IT assets, but also for medical assets. And the problem with vulnerabilities is, these vulnerabilities cannot be patched on a regular basis, because you need FDA approvals to clear these vulnerabilities on a medical device. And so how do we do it? We also integrate with ServiceNow VR module. So ServiceNow has come up with a VR module. What they do is they collect vulnerabilities from all models and they work on those vulnerabilities in ServiceNow VR. For example, if they were to say, okay, Order give me medical device vulnerability, Qualys give me the other vulnerabilities for IT devices. So they collect everything at ServiceNow VR module, they work on it, and we can reconcile the status. So for example, let's say you say this vulnerability for this particular device is not approved by FDA, and we have to wait for 30 days. We can mute that vulnerability in our system for 30 days so that you as a vulnerability person working on vulnerabilities, it would not skew your data. So that complete workflow management, including who is assigned to, who is it assigned to, what is the due date, what is the current status of the vulnerability, can all be seen in order. So whatever you have scheduled in Service Graph Connector or ServiceNow VR module, it can be shown in the ServiceNow order vulnerability module. And exactly the same way, right? So we can send vulnerability data directly to order for medical devices, and we can say, okay, this medical device, this is the latest vulnerability. So we can update those vulnerability in ServiceNow. So it's not only one-way track, it's a bi-directional integration with ServiceNow VR module. The reason why it's important is these medical devices are constantly being attacked. So what we do at Order is we look at devices, we look at communication on how the device is communicating to internet and how the device is communicating internally. And all of this information are considered as threats. So every attack that's going to the internet is called as an external attack. So if you look at an attack surface, right, if you look at a attack kill chain, so there are multiple stages of attack kill chain. What we have done is we have mapped our attack detection to attack kill chain. So for example, CNC detection, recon detection, lateral movement. So we can detect lateral movement techniques, and we can also detect exploitation techniques and callback techniques. And at the end of the day, how do you manage these, right? You don't want to manage this as part of an order. So we integrate with ServiceNow ITSM module, and we can send all of this data on a continuous basis to ServiceNow. And we can make sure that all of this data can be actually reconciled, assigned, reconciled, and maintain that workflow in ServiceNow on a regular basis. So this is a complete loop, detect attacks, detect vulnerabilities, and detect assets. All of this can be sent to ServiceNow on a regular basis. What else Order does? Order meets compliance requirements. So we can map our data directly to NIST frameworks or CISA frameworks or some cyber insurances. And we also provide device utilization for a medical device. So we can provide exactly how much is this device being utilized, when is it utilized, all of that information is available in Order platform. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks.